I'm delighted to introduce Michael Ellis MP. He is our Minister of State for Transport. He's also the thrice elected MP for Northampton North, and whilst in Northampton North it's not the home of either Cosworth or Silverstone, both of those key automotive institutions are very, very close by. So I know Mr. Ellis takes a great deal of interest in this sector. I'm sure he'll have a lot of very, very interesting things to say. So without ado, please could you put your hands together for me, please, to welcome Michael Ellis MP, Secretary of State for Transport.
Well, Darren, thank you very much indeed for that charming introduction. And it's absolutely true. I do, first of all, work very hard to be as punctual as possible. So thank you for noticing. But Silverstone, Cosworth, and so much about motor engineering are based, if not in my constituency, very close by. And it's something that I am hugely interested in. And thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you, Andy, for inviting me to this important occasion. You know, ladies and gentlemen, it is a real pleasure for me to have this opportunity to speak to you today, not only because it's always good to get out of the House of Commons, especially at the moment, but the role that low-carbon fuels will play in our journey to zero-emission road transport is incredibly important. Last month, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister herself announced the UK's pledge to achieve a net zero greenhouse gas target by the year 2050. And it is ambitious. However, it is entirely achievable as a target. It's also one that requires a focus, a real focus and a coordinated response from all of us. As I was saying outside before I came in to this hall, a focus that I think is cross-government, cross-industry, cross-commercial and corporate entities, across the whole sector, a coordinated response to speed up innovation, to support new and emerging technologies like greener fuels, and to ensure that industry and government are working in partnership. And I'm determined that we do that. Our partnership together, we have our strengths individually, but when working together towards shared goals, we really can achieve a great deal. Now, the Low Carbon Vehicle Partnership is clearly, quite frankly, integral to that process. That's why I'm here today, helping me and my colleagues in government understand these opportunities and how to grasp them. We need your help. I need your help. In particular, ladies and gentlemen, how can we overcome barriers to low-carbon fuels and create, if you like, the infrastructure, this all-important issue of how we go about creating the infrastructure that will transform demand? How also we can harness the diverse interests across industry, sometimes competing interests, to advise policy, to influence policy. We're listening. My department is listening, and this government is listening. Now, the partnership is also tasked with pushing forward the low-emission transport debate, including through the Road Transport Emissions Advice Group and the Electric Vehicle Energy Task Force, and bringing together stakeholders from government, from the energy world, from the automotive industries, to meet challenges facing the energy system. For example, how we can meet demand for energy in an efficient way, in a sustainable way, as we move to electrified transport and smart charging, while keeping consumers, of course, at the heart of the transition. Sometimes there is a tendency to perhaps divert from that. We must always keep the consumer in mind, and of course at the heart of these matters. And its expertise in covering a wide range of applications is something that I really appreciate and acknowledge from this partnership. And this partnership has, for instance, helped my department to develop the ultra-low emission bus scheme, which has funded no fewer than 263 zero-emission buses and supporting infrastructure for those buses around the country. And that's helped establish a strong foothold. In 2018, for example, the United Kingdom was the second largest market for ultra-low emission vehicles in the EU, behind only Germany. And 1 in 5 electric cars sold in Europe are made here in the United Kingdom. So now, seeing those facts, welcoming them, we now have to use that foothold to propel us forward. And we want the United Kingdom to bolster this position. I'm never satisfied with second place for the United Kingdom. We want to bolster our position as a global leader in ultra-low emission vehicle production. And, by the way, not only in the production of those vehicles, but in the design of them, in the manufacture of zero-emission vehicles. And as we plan ahead for all new cars and vans to be effectively zero emission by 2040, this is why the government is providing £1.5 billion to support the further uptake of ultra-low emission vehicles and develop a world-class electric vehicle infrastructure network. But, ladies and gentlemen, the transformation from fossil fuels to a zero-carbon road transport system is complex. You don't need me to tell you that. And the question, or one of the many myriad of questions that are to be asked, is how do we reduce emissions whilst combustion engine-powered vehicles are still running on UK roads? The environmental impact of road vehicles today is under intense scrutiny. And this is something, by the way, that politicians are particularly alive to. I mean, we do ask the public for their views on a wide range of policies on a regular basis. And we have noticed that for the general public, this issue, the issue of ultra-low emission, the issue of carbon pollution, has shot up the rankings for the general public of what really concerns them and what they're focused on and what they expect to see results on, just in a relatively short period. So it's under intense scrutiny, and the range of powertrain technologies and fuels available to consumers is greater than ever. Although our Road to Zero strategy set a clear pathway to zero emissions with a strong emphasis on ultra-low emissions vehicles, the transition to ultra-low emissions vehicles does not mean that we can afford to simply ignore measures to reduce emissions from conventional road vehicles, or hybrids for that matter. Nor does it mean, of course, that we should ignore the potential, the enormous potential, for low-carbon fuels to decarbonise those transport modes that are harder to reach through electrification. Low-carbon fuels will therefore very much continue to play a vital role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions for, well, frankly, for decades to come. Now, that's why we at the Department for Transport established a Transport Energy Task Force with the Low Carbon Vehicle Partnership and published a strategy for renewable transport fuels in 2017. This built on the success of the Renewable Transport Fuel Obligation Scheme, which saw the average greenhouse gas savings of biofuels increase from 46% in 2008-9 to 76% in 2017-18. And last year alone, ladies and gentlemen, reduced CO2 emissions by 2.7 million tonnes, equivalent to the emissions pumped out by around 1.2 million combustion engine-powered cars. So thanks in no small part to suppliers and producers I know are here today, we have achieved a great deal. Last year, we amended the RTFO scheme, increasing the supply and the sustainability of low-carbon fuels, doubling their use between 2018 and 2020, and setting targets through to 2032. We also extended the RTFO so that renewable aviation fuels are eligible for reward. And we set new development targets to encourage the supply of strategically important fuels for the United Kingdom, including renewable hydrogen, renewable aviation fuel, and bio-substitute natural gas. So we're working in all these areas, and all of these are helping to drive the market for advanced low-carbon fuels and to decarbonize conventional road vehicles for decades to come, something which, as I've said, we need to do. But having said all of that, there is still more to do. It is vital, ladies and gentlemen, that we realize, especially you ladies and gentlemen in this room, that the potential for the United Kingdom to become a global leader in developing and producing advanced transport fuels will benefit us economically, benefit us socially, benefit us on our international standing around the world, and be the right thing to do for our planet. Developing a thriving domestic advanced fuels industry won't just create jobs at home, although that is very important. It will also help us export our products, export our skills, to complement the demand for advanced fuels generated by the RTFO. Now, the future fuels for flight and freight competition, they put a lot of Fs in that competition, but only in the linguistic sense of the word, known as the F4C, is also making up to £20 million of matched capital funding available. It's a good competition, lots of money available for that, funding that will promote the development of an advanced fuels industry within the UK. And this extends to projects that can produce low-carbon waste-based fuels. I've been to a plant in Merseyside, actually, just within a few days of my appointment as Roads Minister and Transport Minister. We need to extend to projects that can produce low-carbon waste-based fuels for use in the aviation industry and also in the heavy goods vehicle sectors. Modes that are actually particularly difficult to decarbonise, I'm sure you'll agree. And last year, or I should say later this year, we will be announcing those companies that will receive capital funding from the F4C. And as I say, there's going to be up to 20 million there. We're also considering what more can be achieved through the RTFO scheme to support other fuels capable of reducing emissions. We're looking at how to incentivise fuels made from non-biogenic and non-recyclable plastic-derived waste, and we hope to publish a research report on this topic later this summer. We are aiming at DFT to publish soon our response to last summer's call for evidence on whether and how E10, petrol with the 10% bioethanol, as you know, may be introduced in the UK. So, to sum up, ladies and gentlemen, there really is a huge amount of activity in this area, going on to drive forward fuel technology and drive forward the market for ultra-low and zero-emission vehicles. I am confident. I'm confident that the United Kingdom will seize the economic opportunities presented by both our Road to Zero strategy, which I think I'm right in saying is a year old tomorrow, its anniversary. Well, I know I'm right in saying that. I'm doing a load of interviews about it. But our 15-year strategy for renewable transport fuels is also, of course, something that presents us with enormous positive economic opportunities. Clearly, Her Majesty's government can't deliver either of these in isolation. We need established and advanced fuel technologies capable of producing genuine reductions in emissions. We need the support of small technology providers. We need the support of large automotive manufacturers. We need local authorities. We need fleets. We need environmental bodies. And we need the Low Carbon Vehicle Partnership. with the unique contribution that you can all make, not just in the short term, but right through our journey to zero emissions. It is a journey, ladies and gentlemen, of historic proportions and real importance. We are hugely grateful to have you all on board. And I want to thank you all. Thank Darren, Andy, and the rest of the team at LowCVP, and all your members from across the sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a very successful remainder of the conference. Thank you very much indeed.